right, good morning. I think it's still morning. Appreciate everyone joining. Welcome to AWS reInvent. My name is Anita Mikas, and I run the government and education market for Kyndryl in the US. Want to welcome you here. Thank you for joining our session. We will be talking about AI native enterprise today. We've got a pretty cool lineup. In terms of format, first I'll be talking about how AI and Kyndryl are partnering to help the public sector experience, and then we'll weave into a fireside chat with a couple of special guests to talk more about how AI is helping the student experience. So I wanted to start with a quick poll. Hopefully you guys can hear me. First question, how many people are articulate and fully understand the difference between generative AI and agentic AI? Okay, good. All right. And how many people are using AI today to solve their business problems? Or maybe personal problems? All right, good. So my hope is that by the end of this session, you've learned a little bit more about AI and specifically how we can leverage and how you can leverage AI to solve some of your business challenges. So as we look at the public sector today, and especially in the state and local government space, there is a huge disparity between what the public expects and the services that are offered by public agencies. Over 50%, actually 53% of citizens say that they are frustrated with accessing public systems. And I think about my own experiences. I can, on Sunday night, order my groceries on my laptop with the click of a button. I can get a ride to here with an Uber or Lyft app within a minute. But I think about, oh my gosh, I got to figure out the status of my state taxes. I don't know where to start. I got to go get my transcripts from 1992 when I graduated. That's going to take a whole day for me to do. So it's really just a huge disparity between what people are used to receiving in the private sector versus the public sector, and that's really something that we all need to work on. In parallel, there is a 80% use of funds by the state and local government entities on maintenance and operations. That means old systems. That means we're not talking about moving the needle forward. We're not talking about modernization. We're not talking about transformation. We are literally spending a majority of our taxpayer dollars to maintain legacy systems. And what this means over time is increased cost. It means that you have less resources that are able to staff the functions to maintain your legacy systems. And eventually you may end up having security issues and exposures. So this is where we intersect between the challenge and the opportunity. How do we leverage AI in our core operations to help us to reduce support costs, to increase stability, to help security, and ultimately deliver a better experience for citizens and for students in universities? I wanted to share a couple of examples of areas that Kyndryl has worked to leverage AI and to create some pretty nice outcomes. First one is in Stockton, California. Kyndryl helped deliver the city's first public-facing AI predictive dashboards, which provides 320,000 residents real-time insights into road safety and estimated repair times. In a large Midwest city in the US, we've modernized the parking and citation management systems with an AWS AI-powered omni-channel contact center, try to say that a few times, reducing wait times for up to 20%. So this means how much time people stay on the phone or wait for information or updates to understand how they can continue with their day in citation management. And at UCLA, which we'll dig into deeper during our fireside chat, we have worked on digitizing over 2 million paper records and laying the foundation for AI-driven student services. So at the core of all of these examples where we have leveraged AI to improve the experience is Kyndryl's AI framework. When we talk about AI and native AI specifically, we're talking about baking AI into the core of operations, not as a project, not as a pilot, but embedded in every single thing that we do. The Kyndryl Agentic AI framework, The Kyndryl Agentic AI framework includes three main components. The first one is ingestion of data. It enables the capture of structured and unstructured data from diverse sources. So think about source code to help us with understanding what are the dependencies, what are the relationship with your source code. Think about security and IT policies. When we create agents, making sure that they're within the realm of what we consider to be the safe standards. Think about policy and procedure guides. How do your operations run? What do we do? What are the opportunities? What are the bottlenecks? The second is the agent builder, and this deploys intelligent agents for specific business functions. The agents can automate tasks, make decisions, and ultimately adapt based on context. The third component is the agent catalog, and this is where the magic happens. It's a centralized repository of reusable AI agents that enable us to scale by deploying repeatable models across the organizations. Together, these elements help us to go to and evolve into a proactive AI native operating model. So I want to share with you a short video, which I guess I'm going to be doing too, around how Kyndryl has helped with AI in a client setting. All right, it's not working.
It was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Play. Enter? No, it's. I can't. Okay, sorry. I'm in tech. I'm an IT expert.
The car rental industry has been completely disrupted by the likes of Uber and Lyft and faces existential crisis. The crux of the issue with these legacy rentals are their rigid pricing engines, which are hard to change. This has resulted in declining revenue year over year and major operational efficiency challenges. We are partnering with a major rental customer to fundamentally reimagine their pricing engine using agentic AI. The Kyndryl Agentic Ingestion Tool analyzes dependencies, extracts embedded business rules, and creates a modernization roadmap. This step transforms static legacy logic into structured, human-readable format. We use the outputs from ingestion to automatically generate comprehensive tests and modern code. The outcome is a flexible, microservices-based architecture that supports modular components like fleet, customer, pricing, and ERP integrations, all designed to work independently but seamlessly together. The result is a cloud-native, API-first environment that accelerates innovation, simplifies integration, and gives us the agility to evolve with business needs. Finally, we are evolving the pricing functionality to a dynamic system. This involves 3 distinct agents. The first agent ingests multiple external sources, such as weather insights and flight patterns, to come up with probabilistic pricing. The second agent runs Monte Carlo simulations to understand the implications of various pricing scenarios on revenue and fleet utilization. And the third agent performs compliance checks based on state and federal guidelines. This modernization program is set to deliver a state-of-the-art, dynamic pricing, just like ride-sharing platforms, where prices adjust in real time based on demand, availability, and external factors.
Okay, hopefully that helped to drive home the Kyndryl Agentic AI framework a little bit more in terms of how it works in action. So I'd like to shift gears a little bit now and invite 2 incredible leaders to the stage for a fireside chat. As mentioned earlier, Kyndryl has partnered with UCLA Anderson School of Management to reimagine the student experience. I'm excited to invite Howard Miller, the CIO for UCLA Anderson School of Management, to share more about this transformation and how it's helping students at UCLA. And I would also like to invite Kyndryl's Chin Vo, Vice President of Innovation at Scale for the US. All right, well, welcome, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Howard, I'm going to start with you.
Cool.
As a pioneer of AI, both as a person and as a CIO, and also UCLA being a pioneer of AI, what are the things that inspired you or compelled you to start you on your native AI journey?
Wow, I mean, this is a long story and we only have a certain amount of time, so I'll try and keep it relatively brief. I think it starts with a conversation with my dean almost 3 years ago. We're at that 3-year mark when ChatGPT first became something that we all knew and heard about. And he said to me, Howard, he said, I put my final into ChatGPT and it got a B+. What's our value premise here in higher education? And it's not as draconian as it seemed at that time. And over that course of the next 12 months, what we did at UCLA Anderson is we decided that we wanted to be an AI thought leader as a school. We formed an AI task force, which was cross-functional between faculty, staff, and students. This was September of 2023. We started to ideate on things that we thought might make sense for us as a business. We got to the end of December 2023. We found a platform that we liked. We found a cost that made sense for us. We pitched it to the dean, and I said, is this something that the school wants to go forward with? He said yes, so 2 months later, we were working with some consultants. We had a platform, and then 2 months later, ultimately, we had our first 2 production use cases. So it's kind of a labor of love. It's not something that you get to overnight. I think I'd highlight the importance of having a cross-functional group of people to get together and help you set that direction. I would encourage you, if you haven't started already, and I saw by the show of hands that many have, but for those who haven't, it's not too late. I think it's okay to fail fast. I think you want to find things that are quick time to value, so don't try to boil the ocean, and try and find things that really have meaning for your business. So AI is a great technology. It's the most transformative technology I've seen in 35 plus years working in IT. But at the end of the day, you still have to marry back to business outcomes.
Yeah, so I think this is a great example of how AI can help educational institutions, and as we start to see some funding cuts potentially, this is a great method. So next question, Howard, is challenges. What sort of challenges did you face, and then specifically, how did you overcome them?
Sure, so truth be told, there are always going to be challenges along the way. Specifically with the work that we did with Kyndryl in the app that we built, one of the biggest challenges is this is one where we decided to attack student data. And so I already told you about the things that are quick time to value, and if you want to go to sensitive and confidential data, don't start there. But with the work that we did with Kyndryl, we decided that we wanted to attack student data. I'll get more into the app that we built in a little bit. But to do so, there were a ton of hurdles. In addition to just institutional organizational change management, so in other words, convincing somebody at the center of campus that we could go ahead and do this and follow third-party risk management, we wanted to ensure the security and privacy of that student data. So we took extra care to architect that environment such that it mirrored the information security policy of the UC system, almost line for line, so if it was ever going to get audited, that it would pass that test. So there were definitely challenges around the data security, the data privacy. Culling together all of the data that we put into this application, we took from a lot of different disparate systems. We took from the student's record database, we took from our career placement, we took from our clubs, we took from our course catalog. So culling all of that together to put that into one application in one environment in one engine, definitely there was some labor of love that was associated with that. And then just lastly, at the end, having a user interface and being able to approach it with something that a student might ultimately want to use. And that was the compelling part of this application to begin with, right? At a 2-year graduate school of management, our students come in very quickly. They're not there for very long. We inundate them from the beginning. They start in the summer before classes even start in the fall. We send them a ton of email. They're starting to interview for internships. They're doing their coursework. Some of them still don't really know what they want to be when they grow up. And so on top of all of this, we just say good luck, right? And there are career advisors. There are things to help them along the way. But the application we built was really meant to be a roadmap. So if you came in and you said you wanted to be a product manager at LinkedIn or you wanted to work here, we could give you some kind of prescriptive path to say, if this is what you want to do, you should take these courses, you should look at these companies for internships, you should join these clubs. And ultimately, these companies are the like companies that follow that roadmap to where you ultimately want to go to be successful. So all of that was part and parcel of the challenges along the way.
So one thing we've talked about is the rate and pace of technology and how fast it's moving. We started this project with you, I think it was December 2023. We finished around August of 2024. So one of the things that I think about a lot is what would you do differently, or how would you approach this project differently now versus when we started and embarked upon it a couple of years ago?
Sure, I think I would have, as I said earlier, I think I would have failed faster to begin with. I think we spent so much time trying to get the architecture right that by the time we launched, the technology had changed so much that not putting something out there sooner and getting it into people's hands and going back and reiterating on that was probably the biggest mistake we made.
Yep, got it. Okay. Chin, over to you. So from your vantage point leading agentic AI for Kyndryl US, how do you see organizations approaching AI? Are customers ready to become AI native, or what trends are you seeing? And I know you're just 3 or 4 months into Kyndryl, so welcome. Appreciate you.
3 or 4 months into Kyndryl, but I've been in this for quite a while there. So actually a lot of the trends that I'm seeing is sort of reflected in Howard's story there. So especially in education institutions and government agencies there, you know, the promise of sort of the value coming out from the generative AI when ChatGPT came out, you know, that's sort of just the reactive way of actually engaging with it, to the progressions to agents acting independently, to multi-agent systems, to the agentic workflows we have today. You know, in each step there, the value is there, and I think the excitement in each of these you know, sectors is there, and it's palpable. And to Howard's point, actually, my oldest daughter, she's a junior this year, but last year, even as an undergrad degree, she was in a field where it was emerging. It was an arts program combined with data science, machine learning, and computer science. So they're trying to really do that creative aspect to things. But with that, the university was just building this program on the fly. Now imagine having someone going through that, planning her course load and things like that, as the things are changing at the same time. I can tell you personal experience, it was hard and a lot of work there. Now, if we actually had a system like Howard describing just for that purpose there, it would have saved both her experience and even the faculty's experience actually doing this there, right? So the value is there. So what's stopping all of this here? And I think the two main points that was really highlighted. One is data, the other one is trust on that side of things there. So on the data side, where Howard started his journey, I think from a technology perspective there's a lot of solutions out there how we can actually speed up that process, both from, you know, cleansing the data to accessing the data in place as opposed to moving into one location there. That can really hit your timeline there. The second aspect of it is trust itself. First of all the policies, audit trails, and you know, the things that Howard described, it's not just in education, it's the same thing in government agencies and things that we have to do there. Then having the idea of an autonomous agent just interact with this data, it scares a lot of corporations and our customers there. And so I think the trend that we're seeing now as we're moving through that is actually services that's going to actually address those issues. If you just noticed the recent announcement from AWS for all the agent core services there, from making sure that the agents are accessing the right tools, or policy engines there, and making sure the agents are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then the observability aspect to it, right? In terms of making sure that, how I was saying, do we actually know what the agent's doing at all times? Can we actually see that audit trail around that? So I think the change is the foundation to that. It's supporting that. It's allowing us to get to that trust aspect of things. And then lastly, just wrapping all around there is all the soft stuff around it. Any transformation we see, you have people side of things. How do we actually work with the consumers of this and also the providers of this? Their process is going to change. So we've got to figure out how that works, and then also the business process optimization piece of it there. So there's a lot of things that comes into play there.
Yeah, so I think my next question is probably applicable to both of you, so please feel free to weigh in. But when we do any sort of large transformation project, bringing our people with us is so important. You talked about trust. I think, Chin, from your perspective, I'd like to hear, what do you think is so important about OCM, organizational change management, when you're doing a significant AI transformation in your organization?
Yeah, I think if I break down actually my job role, you can see that my role is innovation at scale, which is a little ambiguous there, what it actually is. It actually encompasses some major functions to help our customers adopt AI, and it's actually the data and AI practice, which is that says for itself is required. Our enterprise strategy, technology, architecture side of things, people and performance, that's the OCM performance side of things there. And then the vital, which is the user experience side of things. If you think about what you just described there, we need all of it to actually do this successfully. And that OCM or change management piece is so central and core to it. So all that is actually under my umbrella because we have to work together actually to make sure that adoption is successful.
Thank you. Okay, question for both of you. So Howard, we'll start with you. How do you see the landscape of AI changing as we move forward? What are the things that you'll do? How can you manage
I'll go back to the landscape in a second.
Yeah, okay.
Chin said something that made me reflect on the answer to the question that you asked. And when we started this project, the ability to get at data was somewhat of an issue, right? So you said we had to take all of that data that we had and we put it in one place. And to the question of where AI is going, now we wouldn't have to do that, right? The ability to integrate into so many different things with AI is one of the bigger changes maybe in the last 6 to 9 months.
Absolutely.
That would have certainly made my journey with this application a little different. So I wanted to highlight that because I think it does speak to how quickly things are changing and how it's difficult for us in the seats in which we're in to sort of predict what's next, right? And so you've talked about your agentic AI framework. I'm looking at tools that do low-code AI with agent builders, no-code AI, which is just drag and drop. I think we're all trying to figure out what agentic AI can mean for us organizationally. Again, for UCLA Anderson, it's sort of this fail-fast approach. I have a couple of things that are agentic. I'm not going to say they're the sexy what everybody thinks agentic AI should be at this point. I have an agent that can call another agent, and it can successfully do that handoff such that the person who's going from agent 1 to agent 2 can then go into agent 2 and do specifically what they want, so it all doesn't have to be done under one hood. And the reason for that approach, again, is building blocks, foundational. Again, if you try to architect something so large at the beginning, you stand that chance to fail. By putting those building blocks together in a very measured way as part of that journey is sort of how we're approaching it and how we're going to get there next. I think we're going to be in this agentic AI phase myself for at least the next 9 to 12 months. I know 2025 was supposed to be the year of agentic AI. 2026 will probably still be a year of agentic AI. But I think the ability to have agents that call other agents that actually can deliver on business outcomes without scaring away the humans who think their jobs are going to be replaced is ultimately sort of where we want to head next.
Okay, thank you. And then Chin, same for you. Where do you see the future of AI for enterprises going in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I think it's going to build on. I think we're going to get to a point where the discussion of agents as part of an enterprise is not going to be a question anymore. It's just it's going to be a reality that we're going to have to account for and plan for there. And I think the patterns and trends and architectural approach is going to help support that. It's going to be driving that. I actually look back at how we look at compute services. If you remember, went from virtualizations to containerizations to serverless. At this point in time there, I think no one is questioning the fact that we can run enterprise critical systems on AWS and any of those the compute services, which was not the case when we were first starting. And I'm seeing the same trend in the AI side of things with the architecture support of that piece there. And I think the framework that we have, like our Kyndryl Agentic framework, it's a very lightweight framework, and to address Howard's point, we're not heavily investing in any particular tech stack side of things. We know 3 months from now, 6 months from 12 months, it's going to change. Something's going to come up. We've got to have to make sure that it can adapt properly and pick that up really in an efficient manner. And I think that's where we're going to go. It's these sort of lightweight frameworks where we can adapt, change, and actually just pick up the latest trends as it comes along.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both for sharing your comments and your perspectives. I think a few things that are really important is, the criticality of the data, making sure that we have clean data and then it's used in the way that is intended to. Understanding outcomes. AWS always talks about working backwards. I think we're all here trying to solve business problems, and we have to look at what is the business problem we're trying to solve and then work backwards. I think involving people, both of you mentioned having to bring your people with you to make sure that when you go through this transformation, they understand the what, the why, and what role they play. Howard, you mentioned iterating, right? Fail fast. How do you make sure that whatever you're building at the end of it isn't not what you expected? So really just making sure that we iterate. And then I think both of you talked about trust, really making sure that there's trust as you build these new systems. So as we wrap up our session, I can't change the screen. Sorry, let me go do that.
Not from there anyway. Right?
I want to thank you all for joining. And I want to make sure, and I hope that each of you from this session learned a little bit more about AI, and more importantly, how you can leverage AI, whether it's agentic or generative, in helping to solve your business problems. If you're interested in learning more about how Kyndryl can help you, you can visit booth 1475, or you can register for an agentic AI workshop using the QR code. So I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy AWS reInvent, and thank you for taking time with us today.